Hi traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you. Happy Thursday. Um, Let me go ahead and I'm going to grab my bias chart here, and we're going to get started. Now, yesterday, if you guys are tuning in a little bit late, I was explaining to I went to shut down my charts yesterday, and it says, do you want to save your workspace? And I clicked no, and I said, I can't believe I did that. So unfortunately, my charts from whatever I drew yesterday are gone. So we're going to have to redraw everything today. So if everything looks a little like, hey, didn't we do that yesterday? Well, yeah, it's probably because I didn't save everything. So anyway, and it's okay. It's sometimes nice having a fresh start. Okay. All right. So here's the euro, and once again, we are in this. We're in this zone, and the zone is persistent. Um, Yesterday we wrote down resistance of 106.60. We didn't even get close to it yesterday. Obviously, the euro came up under a lot of pressure, and we wrote down the support from yesterday at 105.60, I think is what we did. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to count back to yesterday, which I have a hard time remembering what I did just a half an hour ago. So 105.60, I think, is what we wrote down as support. We pushed below there. We pushed below there barely, and then pop right back up. And so you can see we're just range bound. Now, one of the things that we were looking at yesterday, which is still important in my opinion, is we were looking at the possibility of an inverted head and shoulder pattern. Now, if this is going to play, it needs to play like soon. All right, like meaning we need to start rallying, like even ahead of NFP tomorrow, like today, which is possible. I mean, we have ISM. All right, we have ISM today, which is a very limited view because it's the manufacturing ISM, ahead of NFP. But maybe that data comes in so horrible that the dollar just gets bludgeoned. Who knows? Maybe that's the case. But what we have to do is we have to start making a move here in the euro dollar. The good news about the euro is we didn't break into new lows, and maybe this. And by the way, which I think is more realistic, is this scenario. I really don't think we're going to break out of here until following Sunday. You know what I mean? Like the breakout of this range probably will be as a result to the Italian referendum over the weekend. As much as I don't want that to happen, I mean, I'm also a realist. I don't, the NFP will probably, when's the last time we saw a huge jump in NFP, whether it's to the downside or to the upside? I mean, it's like we're so steady around the 150 to 225,000 jobs. It's like, is there going to be enough of a move up or down in NFP to really alter the course of non-farm payrolls? And alter the course of the dollar, really? I don't think so. I think it's more of the referendum. However, that doesn't mean that we can't look for a breakout. I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic here. So 105, 1.0560 is support. I think is the same support we wrote down yesterday. You know what? I'll just make it 50 because we did spike down to, what was the low yesterday? 52. So we'll just, mark that. I think we wrote down 105.60, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't really matter. It's right around there. Resistance, 106.65. Okay. 1.0665 to 107. All right. As I've explained to you guys, I'd way rather be short the euro dollar at 107, and I'm, not really comfortable with it at current levels. I do still think we have a very bearish bias. All right, but as Paul explained, we could get a recovery here in the euro, at this, channel low, if you will. Here, let's get rid of this. We don't need that. Let's delete that. Here, let's just grab this and move that over. Okay, something like this. Let's delete that. Let's get this. Put it there. Put it where? Under where? Under there. Underwear. Sorry. Kid joke. Very, very bad kid joke. All right, so there we go. So we have this like channel, longer term channel. Obviously, we got a truckload of support. It's tough for me to be short the euro at this moment, because of this. At the same time, I don't feel the desire right at this moment to be long either. Okay. Doesn't mean we're not going down. Doesn't mean we're not going up. I'm just saying that I'd rather give me a reason. Give me a reason to be long. Give me a reason to be short. Right now, based on the information that we have right now, it's hard to be either. Okay. All right. Let's go. The cable. Now, can I do this bias chart for you from yesterday? Okay. So there's our bias chart from yesterday. Now, obviously, we can fill in the numbers that we did from yesterday, but what do you see on there that sticks out? The pound, right? Right? It's the cable. So what was that telling you? Well, which one was the most likely to squeeze higher today? The cable, right? Look, yesterday we were in a we were range bound. It didn't sell off when the dollar rallied, and of course we're rallying today. Of course we're squeezing. Of course. All right. So we're squeezing up a little bit here. Now, do I think that we're coming in a good resistance? Yes. And do I think that I would like to be on the long side? No, not at this point. Would I like to be short? Not necessarily. But I do think that we're coming right into resistance here. It's the 50% retracement. Now, it's a 50% retracement not based on my charts, but based on like trading view. Let's get rid of that. I think my data was off a little bit. So 50% retracement. I mean, we're coming into a crap ton of resistance here. Any which way you face it. Or slice it anywhere between here, the 126.75 to 128.50. I mean, there's going to be a ton of resistance, even if we do decide to break out. I sure as hell wouldn't want to be short. I just don't know if I'd want to be long right now. 126.75 is resistance. All right. Now support. Now you have to imagine all those suckers that were short yesterday, not realizing that the pound was outperforming yesterday. Okay, they're going to try to get out on any dip now. So any dip down to 125.30, they're looking for their exits. So if you want to be long, try getting long down there. All right. Swissy. Now the thing about the Swissy yesterday, and is we pressed into. Let's get rid of this. We might keep that. Let's remove that for right now. we pressed into new highs yesterday. Okay. Posted a false breakout. Posted a false breakout yesterday. So the risk is that we pull back a little here. The risk is that, if we break through this 101, it's probably going to trip some stops back to parity. Now, as you guys know, I'm really hoping this happens. I'd like to be long at parity. Okay, that's what I hope to happen. Now, just because I hope something to happen doesn't mean A, it's going to happen, or B, um, that I'm going to actually buy it when it gets down there. That's just my plan. And just remember, it's okay to hope when you want something to happen. It's not okay to when you're looking for a trade. It's not hoping is not okay when you're in a trade. Hoping is not a strategy when you're in a trade. You know, especially when you're underwater. Hope is a strategy when you're looking for a position. You're looking to take a position in the market. Like, I hope my plan works and we get down here. That doesn't mean we won't stop at 101. That doesn't even mean we're going to go to 101. That doesn't mean if we break 101 we're going down to parity. But I would think that if we broke through 101, we are heading back to parity. Then we can look to get long somewhere there. Right. All I know is there was a false breakout above 101.90 yesterday, so 102 is now resistance, and support is 101. And yes, we're in a bullish trend, but that doesn't mean that we can't pull back. So anyway, let's go over to the dollar yen. Here's the dollar yen. Okay, so like we talked a little bit about the dollar yen a bit ago. Remember, all this is all jacked up, so I'm gonna have to redraw everything. And by the way, the dollar yen, this rally has been freaking out of control. Oops, I don't know what I just deleted, but I probably needed that. This rally has been out of control, so strong. And as you can see here, we're still marching up that make sure I still have that fib in there. I don't, so that's what I deleted on accident. Okay, high to low. All right, as I was showing you guys a little bit earlier, the Nikkei hit the 618, and you know that the Nikkei and the dollar yen have a parallel relationship. So when you have and very, very tight relationship. So when the Nikkei, he just hit the 618, which is a big rejection. It hit it overnight and rejected there. All right. The dollar yen hasn't quite hit the 618. So that suggests to me, especially with this relative strength starting to diverge, that we might not make it all the way up to 115. Although I want to short it up at 115.50. I'm on on a watch, basically watching for a reversal, because if we break below today's lows, which is 113, was it 90? 113, we want is 1382. If we break below 113.80, that's the overnight low. 82. Okay, so if we break below 113.80, that's gonna start tripping some stops, and that's going to signal to me that I need to start looking for dollar yen shorts, because that's going to signal to me, if we break below this low here, that we're not going to be, or the chances of us getting up to 115.50 become a lot less. All right. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'm just saying that if that does happen, the reason why I'm thinking this is because the Nikkei just doesn't look so hot right now. Okay. Um, so with that being said, resistance right now, we spiked up in Asia. Totally screwed. I was looking at my wife's office space last night, and uh, she's getting a new office space in downtown Scottsdale, and I was looking at that last night, and I was meeting the guy that owns a building, and I looked at my quotes, and we were squeezing at that point. It was right during the spike up, and I literally was looking at this bar right here. No, right here. I was looking at this bar. I was standing in that new office space last night, and I was looking at it going, oh my God, they're squeezing it in early Asia. And I knew it was a total squeeze play. I didn't short it, but I knew it. I'm like, oh, they're doing it early Asia. So anyway, um, I don't know if we're going to head back up there, but I think if any move up to 115, probably is going to be some really good resistance today. You know, obviously, if we can get to 115, 115.50, that would be spectacular. I just don't know if that's going to happen. All right, let's take a look at the Canadian. Now, the Canadian, I mean, I have to admit, and I bought it yesterday, by the way. I bought it. I bought it like sub 134. Sold. I didn't sell it at the highs here. I thought we might squeeze up towards 135, so I was kind of holding out for that, and I ended up getting out of it, you know, like 134.27 or 29, somewhere right here. So I bought it down here. I thought the spike would have taken us up to 135. It didn't. We brushed new highs and then reversed. I'm like, Dad, damn it! They just totally, you know, hit both sides of the market. Anyway, I did play that squeeze yesterday because, you know, I thought, well, crude being up 10% is probably not going to last. And even though we ended up closing the day up 10%, we pulled back a little bit before we did. Anyway, looking at the Canadian though, right now. Looking at the Canadian right at this moment in time, I mean, we're still channeling, and it's still bullish while we're above this 133 level. You guys know that, right? I mean, it's the one thing that I have to say is with crude oil back at 50, I still look at the Canadian and say, how come the dollar Canadian's not trading at 133? Why is it not trading at 132? Why is it not at 131? With crude oil as strong as it is. All right. That to me would concern me if I was short the US dollar Canadian right now. All right. I'm not saying it won't go down there, but I think you have to start to, you know, if you're on the short side or anybody else is on the short side, you know, they're probably thinking, wait a second, why aren't we down here by now? Crude oil just had a 10% rip yesterday. How come that, I mean, I understand that the dollar was strong, but, you know, why isn't it that we're down? Why, you know, look at the Norwegian krona. That strengthened, you know, some. The peso did too. I mean, what happened here? So I think you have to start looking at the risks of popping back at the top of the channel. Now, I don't want to get long right now. I am short, or excuse me, I am long the Euro Canadian. I am not long the dollar Canadian. So I'm long a little Euro Canadian, and you know, I'm profitable. I bought it at 142 yesterday. I'm up 40 pips. I mean, it's nothing to, it's not like I'm, you know, it's not like I'm throwing a party because I'm up so much money, but I am playing this lack of Canadian conviction right now because I think it's significant. All right. Support on any dip, even if we push into new lows, you see how every time we push into new lows it bounces? So that would be the same for today. If we push to 133 and a quarter, if we press to 133, well, actually, it'd be, I'll take that back, 133.40. I'm assuming we're going to find a bounce there, just in case we do, for those of you guys that are playing the short side. Now, if we break 134.40, it's going to start squeezing. So for those of you that are short, just be careful of that. 134.40. Okay. All right. Put you guys on break. I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys and gals. This is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. So, seeing a little bit of volatility right now. The got to keep an eye on bonds. Bonds actually just hit a new trend low. Hey, what's the March contract for the long for commodities, guys? What is it really fast? ZB. What's the March contract? Or off the top of your head, is it H? H? Yeah. Okay. H7. Okay. Thanks, Paul. I thought that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So we just touched a new low, and now we're bouncing. Done that a couple of different times. You notice how we did it here. We did it here. Okay. We hit a new low yesterday, bounce back. We hit a new low. I don't know if we're going to bounce back, but just keep an eye on it. We got to keep an eye on these long bonds, in my opinion. Okay, that's the ZB. That's the current month. I think the actual continuous is showing this the same thing, but I just wanted to show you guys what's happening here. Okay, we go back into our charts. Okay, so here's the Kiwi. Now, watch the Kiwi really carefully. What we did yesterday is we came back and challenged the underside of this trend line. This candle is a shooting star, okay? See how we rallied into new highs, then we reversed? I actually shorted the Kiwi overnight as a result of that, all right? So it's shown a little bit of a reversal here, and I think we got to watch the Kiwi really carefully if we break through this support here. We're already starting to crack this, this trend line, but watch this support. This is where things get a little tricky. Okay, so I'm going to write down 70. I know we're almost on it, but I'll have to write another level too, so hold on. 70. But if that breaks, it's a 50% retracement. So if that breaks, then the next stop will be 70.45. Okay, 70.45. Right. Now resistance, overnight, I mean, we hit 71.05, but I don't know if we're going to get much above there. I'll write it down for now. It's very minor. Okay. But as you can see, we're trying to break lower here. What else? The Aussie dollar. Okay. Now the Aussie dollar. Now I'm gonna for those of you that are not Forex Analytics subscribers, I'm gonna give you my analysis from the Aussie yesterday. Okay. We have a bear flag pattern. All right. But I put a pattern in play, and it says a bear flag has emerged on the daily chart, which suggests a move to at least 72 cents in the coming weeks. Only move back above 75 cents will negate the pattern. Entry area for a short would be 73.85 to 74.20. That was done yesterday afternoon. The overnight high was 74.20. Actually, I was off 6/10 of a pip. All right, if you guys are looking at it, I am short the Aussie. I shorted it above 74 cents last night. Just letting you guys know. But you can see that was the setup from yesterday. Now, if you look at the Aussie dollar, I'm just, for those of you that aren't Forex Analytics subscribers, remember it's only a dollar to try it out for 3 weeks. Here's the Aussie. So we have a bear flag. Now, if this bear flag plays out, we can go a lot lower than 72 cents. The reason why I wrote down 72 cents is because of the fib. But, you know, first things first, I mean, there's a lot to overcome here on the way down. I mean, it's not like, oh, you just straight up, you know, short it because it's in a flag pattern. No, the flag pattern points to a lot lower prices, and it's not going to go there and any straight line, that's for sure. But 73.65, actually, let's see what's the low here. 64, 66. Yeah, so 73.65, that is support. 73.65. If that breaks, then, you know, the Aussie's probably going to buckle under some pressure, I would assume. All right. Resistance. Well, 74.20. That's the overnight high. It's minor resistance. Okay. Dollar index. Dollar index. This false breakout yesterday, that would concern me. You know, actually, let me delete that. So, with the dollar, I still think this is potential. Ah, crap. Let me delete that. Okay. It wasn't going to work when I've got the ouch. Still think that's possible. Okay, it is possible. Now, 100.50 is obviously really key. I mean, there's no if and or buts about it. I doubt we're going to break out of here ahead of the referendum, but you have to be on the lookout. I mean, the one thing that I think that the market is not prepared for is just this a dollar sell-off. I mean, everybody's very bullish the dollar at this point, okay, or at least trying to be bullish the dollar. So if the dollar buckles, it's going to wreak some havoc. We'll probably see some pretty significant selling. So support is 100.50. I mean, I don't think we have to worry about that ahead of Friday. You know, it's probably going to be over the weekend if it's going to break down. Like, let's say, you know, Italy votes yes on the referendum, and then the euro, you know, gets a squeeze. I mean, that could trigger it. Maybe the dollar yen pulls back with when bonds rally. You know, that's possible. But I think right now, you know, we take the high from yesterday, which was 101.83, so 101.85, and then we have support at 100.50, and then we sit. I think we just are, you know, kind of stuck right now. All right. Okay. Um, Peso. Now, yesterday, if you were on the lunch money webinar yesterday, I said, hey, we broke below that 850. I said, but this is a false breakdown. This is on the lunch money webinar yesterday. We were right. We were right here. I said I wouldn't be short the U.S. dollar Mexican peso couldn't hold below 2050, and we are squeezing a bit now. I don't. I'm not really too terribly excited about trading the peso right at this moment in time, but I would love to be short, higher. So a move up to 2075, I still think is an attractive short. Okay. Support. That was the 618. So we'll just write support today. Just we're gonna have to just monitor that spike low that came down here at 2044. I'm not too motivated about trading the peso right now. I would be more motivated up at resistance, but not at current prices. Okay. Hey guys, stand by for just a second. Just a second. All right, sorry about that. Um, okay, last two. U.S. dollar, Norwegian krona. US dollar Norwegian krona is taking a bit of a nosedive. Now, the thing about the Norwegian krona, we got the spike up in crude, so maybe it will finally start to buckle a little bit. Um, that spike high comes in, and remember, this is all. Here, let's get rid of this. We already know that it rejected the 618. So we're at the 38% retracement right now. This is a very high traffic area, and you see how, I mean, we actually completed the inverted head and shoulder pattern here, right? I mean, for all intents and purposes, that we did complete it. So the 50% retracement comes in right here. There's a bunch of spikes right around here. Here, let's get rid of this. We don't need that now. Um, so 8.40. And I mean, with crude, as strong as it is, it could roll over. Resistance now, I mean, is at 860. I don't see us going up there today, but that's resistance. Swedish krona. Swedish krona. This one. Well, I guess we're stopped at the 38% retracement, right? We don't need that. We stopped at the 38% retracement yesterday. I don't think there's a whole lot to do with the Swedish krona. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see a little bit more significant pullback in the Swedish krona. You know what I mean? Like I would way prefer here. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that either. I'd way prefer to see some sort of pullback, maybe down to this 880 level, because that's the big breakout point. That's what I'd really like to see. Let's get rid of this one. We don't need that either. A lot of yellow lines for no reason. Um, so I'm going to write down 8. What's the low here? 814 and or 914 and 931. 9.14, 9.31, and it's still bullish. I just would prefer to see a little bit deeper pullback here before getting long this thing again. But what I want and what will happen are two totally different things. Yeah. All right. Let me take some questions that have come in. All right. So first, Charles says tap your two fingers together. Okay. What does that do?